The BLoC pattern is something that many people want to learn, but it can be hard to learn in the beginning. So in this tutorial, we'll go over how we can use streams, which is the fundamental building block for BLoC pattern, and we'll build up from there. So this will be the first part of the series, and the second part will go over how we can create the same thing with a BLoC pattern, and then we'll go over to a more real-world use case of the BLoC pattern. So sorry for not making a video for the last series, but I've had some problems with the Firebase plugin or the Firebase Alt plugin, and hopefully that will be resolved in the future, but for now I will have to move on to this series. So stay tuned. Get a free full month of Skillshare and stream more than 18,000 online classes on subjects like design, business and tech. After a while and you feel like this isn't for you, you can always cancel a subscription and not pay anything. So don't wait, try it out now. The link is in the description. So here we have the standard scaffolding of a project, and we'll start by building up the layout. And the layout will just be a simple counter layout just as before, but we will remove the set states and replace them with a stream. And I will explain streams as we go, so just stay tuned. So first off, we build the app bar. And for the app bar's title, we will just set something like streams. And then for the body, we will start off by building a center widget. And for the child of a center widget, we'll have a column. And we will set some properties to this. So the main axis alignment, we'll set that to the center, so we can get our counter to center. And for the children, we'll start by building the text. So for the first text, it will just be the standard one, like this. And for the second text widget, we will have a counter. We haven't created this one, so this will be soon. And for the styling, we will just set the theme of context. Just set the text theme to display one. And let's just start by building a counter. So that will just be a int counter, which we will initialize to 0. Like that. And for the next part, we will have just a standard floating action button. So for the onPressed, we will just start by having an empty function. And we can have the tooltip also, which will just be increment. And then for the child, we will set a icon, which is icons.add. So there we have the standard layout for a scaffolder project. And we can now start by building up the streams. So I'll explain streams as we go. We'll start by building the stream controller. So the stream controller will be handling the integer that we are going to use to display on the screen. So let's create one. And it will be of type int, of course, because we're only using a int. And what have I done here? There we go. Oh, stream builder. No, that's the wrong one. I didn't import it. So place that and we import it by Alt Enter, and we import the library Dart-Sync, which will give us this Steam controller. Now, as we can see, that we have a close instance of Dart Core Sync, and this means that we need to dispose of this widget when it's not going to be used. So we can Alt Insert, and we can override methods. We can type dispose, and just hit enter. And there we have our dispose method. So inside here, we call our stream controller, and we can close it. And we also have to call the super. So super dispose. There we go. So now we have our stream controller and we have our close. So just to explain this a bit better, controller when we don't need it to free up resources, like that. We can do like that. So there we have the explanation on why we have to close this. So for the next part, we're actually going to, I should actually explain them as we go, but I will try anyway. So stream controller has two properties. So think of a stream controller like a pipe. On the left side we put in data, on the right side we get the data again. So for the left side we have something called sync, and on the right side we have something called stream. So just to give a better explanation, we will cut this out, and Flutter have a handy widget called stream builder, and we will set the type for the stream builder to an int. So this stream builder requires a builder function. So if we set the builder to build context and a sync snapshot, which is type int, we can open this up and we can then return our counter. But we don't actually want to return a counter here, we want to return a snapshot. So remove that, and then for the text we can call snapshot, and we have to call on the data. So the snapshot holds many properties, so we will, for example, have a has error and has data, and we can check all of this. So we'll just call data because we have a property on the stream builder, which is the initial value or initial data, and we'll just set that to 0. So it has one more thing that we have to implement, which is the stream. So this will be the stream that we are going to listen to. So as you remember, we created this stream builder. So if we call a stream builder, and then as I explained before, on the right side of the pipe we have the stream, which will be where the values come out. And we want the values to come out and to be displayed on the page right here. So let's see where I have an error. There we go. Have to close it off because we're returning. And if we just reload that, it will be the same thing, right? Because we're still using a stream. We set the initial data to 0, and we have the data of the snapshot. So for the left side, where we put in the data, we will have to do in the action button, because when we press this, we want to increment the value, right? So let's open this up, and we call the stream controller again. And as I explained before, we have something called a sync. So the sync is the left side of the pipe where we put in the new data. We can add. So for this to work, we can call our counter and we can increment the counter, right? Like that. So if we try this now, and we press the value, we can see that it works. I will just see if this is a better approach maybe. Yeah, we have to put it on the left side or else we are missing the first click. Like that. So let me explain again. We will have to comment this a bit so we can see if we can explain it a bit better. So here we are listening to a stream, and when a value goes out the stream, we update the text. Goes like that. So we're listening to the stream, and when the stream gets a new value, the builder or the stream builder will rebuild each time a new value goes out the pipe, and we can update this. So for example, if you didn't have any initial data, this would be an error. And because this would be an error is because the snapshot it hasn't any data. And that's why we can have an if before we return a text to check if it has data or not. We'll explore that a bit more in another tutorial. So, and the sync will just be to add a value. So this can be an int, a boolean, or an object, or whatever you want to use. And for the next tutorial, we will go over how we can create this exact same counter as we have here, but we'll use a BLoC pattern instead. So this is why we have to use the stream controller now. And this is because I want to explain the stream controller before, because the BLoC pattern can be a bit complex if you don't understand the basics first. But I hope you liked this short tutorial, and be sure to comment and subscribe, and I hope you liked the video, and I will see you in the next tutorial.